Hello and welcome to Math 15. My name is Jeremy Trindad. I'll be the instructor for this course. This is an asynchronous hybrid section of Math 15 where we'll be having most of the course materials, the lectures, homeworks, quizzes, things like that. They'll all be given online asynchronously, meaning you can complete them sort of as you like to throughout the week. We usually have due dates at the end of the week, so you still have to complete things on time. But pretty much everything will be given over our Canvas course. We will be having in-person exams, so I'll talk about the exam dates in just a minute when we're going over the syllabus. But so you will have to come to Chabot College in person to take exams 4 times throughout the semester. We'll have 3 midterm exams and then the final exam at the very end of the semester. Okay, but I wanted to make a quick video just to introduce the course, show you the Canvas site, and so you can figure out where you'll find assignments and lecture videos and things like that, and go through the syllabus and just talk about the expectations of the course and how you can be successful. So with that, let's jump over to the Canvas site. Now here we are looking at our Canvas site. This will become a very familiar site over the course of this semester because this is where all of the materials for the course are going to be given. At the top we have this resource module with various resources for the course, how to use Canvas, the syllabus, some other things, technology, campus resources, and so on. But I want to scroll down here to week 1. So every week, usually on Fridays, I'll post the next week where you'll see all of the assignments and tasks and materials for that week. So looking at week 1, we have the chapter 1 notes. Let me start by clicking on this. And you'll have access to the PDF of the note packet. Okay, so here it is. All of the note packets will look very similar to this in terms of formatting. We're starting out with chapter 1. And this is what you will either print out so that you can write on it, or, I know a lot of you like to use note-taking apps like OneNote, that kind of thing. What's important is that you're able to write on this and follow along with the lectures, which will be given as videos. I'll show you one of those in a minute, so that you can follow along and fill in the note packet where we'll work through examples, right? We'll get definitions, and I'll be talking through all of this. Okay, so that's the first link. Usually at the top of the weekly module, we'll have whichever chapter we're working on. Okay, and then you've got some other assignments, sort of special week 1 assignments like setting up your Canvas page. There's a little meet and greet discussion, image embedding quiz. This just teaches you how to embed an image into a response space on Canvas, which is something that's important for this course since we will be interacting through these discussions in Canvas. And math is all about communication, and part of how we communicate within this technical language is through writing, right? So you have to be able to write out a solution showing your steps, get an image of that either by taking a screenshot if you're working on a note-taking app, or you could just take a picture with your phone if you're working on paper. So you have to be able to get images of handwritten work into these discussions. So this quiz will show you how to do that. Okay, now let's just look at these couple of tabs right here. So for each section, you're going to have a lecture video. So I'll click on this. And these are basically YouTube videos that I have linked here that I have made. So these are going to be just me working through that note packet that I was showing you earlier, just focusing on section 1.1. You'll follow along just like you're in a normal in-person class where you're taking notes, but you'll just have that note packet to help spare you some of the writing, make it a little easier to, just focus on and engage with the content that we're discussing. Okay, so I'll let you click on that and check out that video on your own. And then after you watch that, here's the homework assignment associated with section 1.1. So the homework, this is created through a program called MyOpenMath. And what will happen is there will be problems that pop up here. Okay, so here we see 1.1, this is on functions, there's 8 points possible. There's a due date listed for it, that's this weekend by the way. And if I click start, problems will pop up. Okay, so some problems will be like, you know, this kind of thing, multiple choice, whatever. We're dealing with functions here, true, false. Many of the answers will be numerical. Okay, so sometimes you'll just be answering a number as an output, right? Sometimes you'll enter an ordered pair. Okay, so just kind of scrolling through here, showing you some examples. And from time to time, you'll have to embed an image of your handwritten work, just like we were discussing, and just like you'll figure out when you do that image embedding quiz. Okay, so if you run into problems or if you're having issues submitting answers for any of these problems or any of these assignments, let me know. I'm happy to help kind of walk you through it. But it seems like over time people figure it out. Sometimes these online homework programs can be a little bit finicky, but so the learning curve can be a little steep, but people tend to figure it out. If you have any issues, reach out to me. I'm happy to help out. Okay, so going back to week 1. Let's see, this is just an additional little video that I put on here since people tend to need review with factoring quadratics. So check that out if you're finding that you need a little bit of practice with factoring. I just put that in there because that's always the thing that people realize they've forgotten how to do in the first week. Okay, so that is week 1, and that's everything you need to worry about. Okay, notice that on the left, I don't have very many different tabs here. It's just the home page, grades, and then, you know, these additional little tabs here that are always up. I keep a very simplified interface on my Canvas courses, right? Usually, and there will be an announcements tab over here as well. But usually it's just home page and grades for the most part. So I like to keep everything, you know, just very clear. You don't have to go digging around in the Canvas site to figure out what you should be doing. Just make sure that you're staying on top of these due dates and checking for the next weekly module, which pops up every weekend. All right, so that's pretty much how you are going to work in this course, right? To get some more details and talk about exams and grading and that kind of thing, I just want to click on the course information page or the syllabus. So that's this top link here. And here's all the information for the course. Okay, just the very basic things that I've already kind of touched on, you know, 17-week hybrid asynchronous course. So we're only going to be meeting in person 4 times, right? So those are the 3 midterm exams and the final exam. And these are going to happen on some Wednesdays from 12 p.m. to 1:50 p.m. So an hour and 50 long exam period. And they're going to happen on the Chabot College campus, right? And the room number, we're still waiting for a room number. I'll be sure to send out an announcement and make sure everybody knows where we are meeting. But just make sure that you could be at Chabot on the dates that I'm going to give you in a little while. Okay, this class doesn't meet on Zoom. I have office hours that are on Zoom as well as in-person office hours, but everything is done for the most part asynchronously online through Canvas. Okay, I'll let you kind of read through this stuff. I just want to get to the important things. Student learning outcomes, this is just what we're going to cover. Okay, course materials, this is where I wanted to get to. Obviously, you have to have a computer with good access to the internet because everything is online. We have a free OER textbook. That's Open Educational Resources. So this link right here, if I click this, it's going to take us over to the text for the class. And yeah, I like this book. We don't rely on it too much because I give those note packets and all the homework is given through Canvas and those assignments like I showed you. But if you want to see extra examples or you know, another wording of a definition or something like that, this can be useful. And yeah, you know, we could just click on these links like definition of limits 2.1, and it works pretty much like a normal textbook. right? We've got definitions, examples, and so on. Okay, so we don't need to pay for a textbook for this course. You can just follow this link, which is, again, we're looking at the course information page. You need to have a calculator, okay, a graphing calculator specifically, like TI-83, that's the really common one that you can find everywhere. There's a pretty rich aftermarket for these, so I see these on eBay and whatnot all the time for pretty cheap. So if you wanted to own one, you could do that. We also have a calculator loan program through the STEM Center at Chabot. I'll send out an announcement about that. So if you wanted to just borrow one for the semester, you could do so through the Chabot STEM Center. My Open Math, this is just the online homework program, but you don't really need to think about this because this is integrated into our Canvas site. This is just that homework assignment that I showed you. Okay, so you don't need to register with My Open Math or anything like that. It's all just integrated into the Canvas. Okay, we talked about this stuff. Yeah, basic tips for success. Just make sure that you're proactive, log in every Monday, make sure you know what to do that week. Sometimes we have things due on Wednesday, like I'll have a discussion submission due on Wednesday and then a reply due on Saturday. So just make sure that you have an eye on those due dates. I recommend using the calendar that's integrated into Canvas. That's really nice, just because it shows you when everything is due, makes it easy to stay on top of due dates, not get too confused or overwhelmed. Just try to work on things ahead of time, right? I have office hours which are designed for you to come in and ask questions. And if you're just completing assignments right at the due date, you don't leave yourself much time to answer questions, which inevitably will come up. This is a challenging topic. You will run into problems that have you stumped sometimes. Try to leave yourself time to ask questions in office hours, okay, by getting things done early. And speaking of office hours, these are my office hours for this semester. So Tuesday, Thursday, I'm on campus. You could reach me in my office, which is room 2032. That's in the 2000 building. Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 11:30 to 1 p.m. And then I have these evening office hours from 5:45 to 6:15. Same thing on Thursday. On Wednesday, I have a Zoom office hours. This is my Zoom link right here. From 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. If you need help and none of these office hours work, if you have classes or work or whatever, something urgent comes up, send me a message through Canvas inbox and I'd be happy to set up an additional office hour so we can talk. Also, Canvas inbox can be a pretty effective way to communicate about math topics, especially if you're hip to taking pictures of your handwritten work and being able to embed that into Canvas. You can send me images of your work, like, okay, here's this homework problem that I'm stumped on. Here's my work so far. Where am I going wrong? Can you help me? We can totally do that just, remotely over Canvas inbox. Okay, so don't hesitate to ask content-related questions here as well, as long as you can do so effectively. This is my email. I'd recommend just reaching out to me through Canvas. I get a lot of emails to my chabotcollege.edu address from, different faculty and the college and publishers and all this stuff. I focus on the Canvas inbox because I prioritize students and their questions. So if you want a quick response, use Canvas inbox, which, by the way, is just this little link on the left right here. You click there and you should be able to send me a message. Okay, I'll let you read through this other stuff. This is just the grading, right? It's split between discussions. We have one this week that, so you'll be able to see what that looks like. Homework, that's 15%. Quizzes. We will have quizzes, usually either a quiz or a discussion on any given week. So, you'll see a quiz very soon. The exams make up 45% of your grade. So we have 3 midterm exams, so each is worth 15%. And then the final exam is a little more heavily weighted, 20%. Okay, academic dishonesty. I'm not going to talk too long about this, but you know how it works. I've unfortunately had to really, I shouldn't blame myself, but you can screw up your chances of transfer and really mess up your whole academic record if you get a strike on there for any kind of dishonesty. We don't want that to happen, right? I want you guys to be able to transfer and be successful and not have to go on academic probation or anything like that. And also, I just want you to actually learn the content, right? We're in college now, and the purpose of taking these courses is because we want to be effective in our careers and be employable and be able to show up to an interview and actually demonstrate that we know what we're talking about. So, yeah, don't play yourself in this regard. And then you won't have to worry about any consequences there. Attendance and participation, this is an online course, right? So it's like you're not showing up other than for the exams. So really the way that I monitor participation is just through completion of the assignments on Canvas. So make sure that you're staying up to date on those assignments. If I see that you're falling behind or you're not participating, you can and will be dropped from the course. Makeups, generally not given, especially for exams. We're going to look at the exam dates in a minute, and you can ensure that you're free on those dates. That's going to be pretty critically important. ADA, so if you have a documented disability and need any kinds of accommodations, we can work with the ACE Center, ACE, the Accessibility Center here at Chabot, to get you any accommodations that might be helpful to you and promote your success in the course. Please just let me know what you need from me, and we can work together with the ACE Center to make sure that you're accommodated. I'll let you read through the rest of this, and then here are the important dates. Okay, so we're starting this week, January 20th. We have some dates like last day to drop, Census Day. We have some holidays. I'll let you think about those. I want to focus on these exam dates. Okay, so remember, these are going to happen at on Wednesdays between 12 and 1:50 p.m. I'll give you the locations as soon as I have them, but they're going to be on the Chabot College campus. So make sure that you are free on these dates: February 25th, March 25th, April 29th, and our final exam on May 27th from noon to 1:50. Okay, it's very important that you're able to make these dates. These are just the 4 days that you actually have to be here on campus to take the exams. There are not makeups for this, right? So make sure that you can make these dates, right? If you know that you can't make one of these dates, you should be finding another section of Math 15 to be in. You have to be here on these days. Okay, that's pretty much everything I want to say right now about the syllabus. Just go back to the home page one more time. Please take some time this week to go through each of these and have a look, read about any additional information. If you have any questions or concerns, like I said, Canvas inbox is the best way to reach out to me. I'll get back to you quickly as I can. And that's about all I have to say here. So get started on week 1. Good luck with these assignments. If you have any issues, reach out. But I'm looking forward to a fruitful and exciting semester. Looking forward to all of your success, and I'll talk to you all soon.